the chain rule helps us handle the derivative of a composite function. So, more complicated function. We have a composite function f of g of x, and we want to take the derivative. The chain rule tells us to take the derivative of the outer function, so f of x, or f prime. You plug in g of x, so you plug in the inner function. Then you multiply by the derivative of the inner function. So the key is really to identify the inner function, and the leftover will be an outer function. So this is called the inner function, and f is your outer function. So how do you identify the inner function? There are some tricks to identify the inner function. They usually inside a parenthesis, under a square root, in the denominator, or again inside some function symbol. So what it's telling you is whatever expression are in those locations, those are your inner function. And once you identify your inner function, you can apply the formula. So let's take a look at an example. We have f of x equal 1 over 3x squared plus 1. And then you square it. So it looks pretty complicated. But again, what is your inner function? Okay, it should be something that is under the denominator, or in the denominator, or inside the parenthesis. And it is really something that is inside a parenthesis. So whenever you have a parenthesis, that kind of tell you what the inner function is. Okay, so g of x is really 3x squared plus 1. So then, what is the outer function? It's 1 over something squared, right? So you have to change it to the power form. So this function, you can call it y. It'll be less confusing, because if you are having two f floating around and they don't mean the same thing. So for this function, this y is really the inner function, 3x squared plus 1, okay? Then you raise it to the negative 2 power. So the outer function is, okay, f of u is just u to the negative 2 power. And we do know how to take the derivative of a negative 2 power. We use a power rule. So now, the derivative of y, okay, it tells us to take the derivative of the outer function. Okay, so the outer function here is something raised to the negative 2 power. So we take down the power negative 2. Okay, we raise it to the power decreased by 1, so negative 3. And the chain rule tells us to keep whatever function inside the same. So it's 3x squared plus 1. But then you need to multiply by the derivative of the inner function. So what's the derivative of 3x squared plus 1? It will be 6x plus 0. Okay, you can simplify it if you want, but it's not necessary. But when you simplify it, it's negative 2 times 6x is negative 12x. Something raised to the negative 3 power will be in the denominator. That thing raised to the third power.